Hello, this is Stuart Roberts, founder of Haircuts for Homeless, and welcome to the Hear Me, See Me podcast. I'm going to be talking to people who are truly inspirational to me. Some you may have heard of, and some you haven't, but you really need to hear their story. Hello, this is Stuart from Hear Me, See Me podcast, and today I've got something that's very, very close to my heart. It's probably close to somewhere else in my body, but we'll talk about that later. We're going to talk about prostate cancer. You know, as people probably know, I've had it for a couple of years. I've got a friend who's had a terrible time with it. I think we're all getting to know people as we get older that it sort of affects. But these two wonderful guys have come up with a great thing, and the idea is to spread it out, get men comfortable about talking about it through the barbershop. So today I've got Mark and Anderson, who have set up Barbers Against Prostate Cancer. Hello, guys.
Hey, how's it going, Stuart?
Very good.
Hi, Stuart. How are you doing? Thank you for having us on today.
My absolute pleasure. Anything to do with it. You know, as soon as I saw you guys, you know, I'd seen it for a little while. I'd seen like the Instagram, and I was thinking, fantastic. And then I sort of just didn't want. I just wanted to offer my help in any way, whatever small amount of help I can give. I wanted to offer it because it is, as I say, a subject close to my heart. So, Guy, what started it? What made you think of doing this?
So if we go back to September, October of 2023, Stuart.
Yeah.
In fact, if I go back a little before that, just to kind of tell you the story, about 18 months before that, I'd been reading about prostate cancer and PSA blood tests. And I spoke to a doctor on the phone about another issue. And I said, by the way, I've been reading about prostate cancer. I've been reading about PSA blood tests. Should I get one? And she said to me straight away, no, you don't need to. You haven't got any symptoms. Anyway, 18 months later, you know, the frequency of getting to see a doctor, I went in to see this doctor this time. It was about a similar issue, not with prostate cancer. And I said to him, by the way, while I'm here, I've been reading about prostate cancer, PSA blood test. I see it in the news. What's your thoughts? And he said, yeah, go along and get a blood test. So cut a long story short, I was diagnosed in October, November of 2023 with prostate cancer. And just to kind of highlight that I genuinely, I can look back now and I can maybe notice one thing, but I didn't have any symptoms. And it was during the time that I was recovering, because I had an operation, that I thought, as hairdressers and as barbers, we have a fantastic platform to raise awareness of prostate cancer. And that was really where Barbers Against Prostate Cancer was born, to be fair. And I started it up with a couple of specific aims. And the first aim was to have the mirror stickers and the window decals and the leaflets, which I kind of did and started to get out there. But the second phase of it, I knew that I wanted to raise awareness by hopefully doing, you know, things like pop-up barbershops. Now, in my day job, I work with a lot of training providers, and I've been doing some work with Anderson. And I remember one day we got chatting about prostate cancer, and I'll hand over to you, Anderson, because you can talk through what happened from there.
Yeah, as they say, the rest was history. So your Mark's pretty much spot on. So he's had a very personal journey himself up until that point, and then you know how things work, Stuart. The universe is kind of like, I don't know. The universe has kind of just brought us together. I think we touched base mildly on a professional level, maybe once or twice prior to that. I feel like maybe we definitely knew of each other, or had a very slight professional relationship, but then the universe has brought us together on this specific cause. So Mark's had his own personal journey. I, with our company Hair Force One and Hair Force One Training Academy, we've had a relationship with Macmillan Cancer Support for the best part of 5-6 years now, something like that, whereby we've always had or tried to have some sort of impact in the community, whether it be just coffee mornings, Macmillan coffee mornings, or small events that we've hosted at barbershops that are within our network, or even larger events that we've attended down at like the mayor's office, City Hall, stuff like that. We've always tried to have an impact on the community regarding cancer awareness, regarding making it less taboo, and as Mark says, using the barber shop as the vehicle to drive that forward. So we had that going on ourselves for some 5-6 years. Then Mark and I collide, as we did, in such a wonderful way. And he lets me know his journey, I let him know my journey. And then it's like a no-brainer at that point. We're like, right, well, we've got to try and do something together. We've got to try and, if you're impacting the community, let's try and impact the community together. So then along comes this idea to have these pop-up barbershops, but in places and locations where the footfall is as high as we can get it. Yeah, as high as we can get it, thus leading on to a much larger impact on the community, right? We can host, Mark has access to barbers and barbershops all day, every day. I have access to barbers and barbershops all day, every day. And we can impact a few people by hosting in a barbershop, but I think things get better and numbers get larger, and the numbers that we're able to impact get larger if we're talking about locations such as shopping malls, such as place high footfall locations. So that's where it was born. We got in touch with Lakeside. They were really, really, really accommodating, really happy to take the project on board. Huge credit to Lakeside and the team down there. They were really, really happy to take the project on board. And it was an outrageous success. It was an absolutely smashing day. We ended up doing, I think it was 30 plus, 35, something like that.
Yeah.
And the amount of conversation, Stuart, the amount of engagement, the amount of support, the amount of just sheer people saying, like, I even had a guy come up to me, Stuart, not come up to me, he was already in the chair. But I had a guy say to me, why aren't things like this happening all the time? Like, why is this like a one-off? Why is this like this should be happening everywhere up and down the country? And I said to him, you're spot on. It absolutely should. And that's, I guess, that's where we'd like to go. I guess, I guess that's where we'd like to take it, to a point where it's that commonplace, where it's not an eyebrow raiser, where people aren't like, oh my gosh, there's a pop-up cancer awareness rally or cancer awareness barbershop. It shouldn't be such an eyebrow raiser.
Yeah. No. I think as well, just kind of adding to what Anderson was saying there, Stuart, what we both decided, because of the relationship that Anderson had already with Macmillan, and we got together and we had a conversation, and Macmillan said to us, look, put in a bid to get some funding to do this event. So we put in a bid, and we've since found out that we were the last community project to get that funding. But the thing that both Anderson and I said, and we were very specific about this, we said in the first place, look, with this event, we're either going to go big or we go home. Yeah. Because to us, what we really wanted to do is we really wanted to make sure that we raise awareness. And it's one of the things that, again, and it is pretty amazing, to be honest, that, Anderson and I will have a conversation, and it's like we've already read each other's minds prior to the conversation, because we end up talking and we agree on stuff, or we come up with similar ideas. But what we said was it was really important for us not to come across in any way of trying to be kind of medical or diagnosis or anything like that, because that's not where we're coming from. And if I can just revert back to, what I was saying about, having no symptoms, that is the issue. That is the big issue with prostate cancer, that the statistics haven't changed. 10,000 men a year are being diagnosed too late. 12,000 men a year are still dying. And the reason for that is because there is not enough awareness out there. And that was why we both agreed, look, we got to make this big. We got to make this event, really, really happen. And it was kind of the combination of us both kind of working together that really brought, that we did the event on Sunday, the 28th of April. We had 4 barbers there. We had a little team around us. You came and visited us, which was absolutely brilliant. If anybody wants to check what it looked like, if you go on to Hair Force One Instagram and Barbers Against Prostate Cancer Instagram, we both posted a little film, and we've got a couple more coming out. And just to kind of add to what Anderson was saying about what people were saying as well, was I had a guy, because I did a haircut as well, and this guy was in his mid-60s, and I basically said to him, have you had any prostate health checks? And he goes, no. He goes, I've never been invited for one. He said, when I was 60, he said, I've got a bowel cancer test come through the post.
Yeah.
He said, I've never had anybody mention to me. So this is guy in his mid-60s, and that could be, almost fatal if he had prostate cancer. So that's why specifically what we did as well is we aimed the event, we called it Cutting the Odds, and we aimed it at individuals, obviously a play on words there with cutting hair, but hopefully cutting the odds in terms of, early detection and diagnosis. That we aimed it at guys or anybody with a prostate. We said individuals with a prostate, 40 and over. Because for us, if we can hit people at 40 with information, then hopefully when they start hitting that age of 45 and upwards, then they're going to be aware of the risk groups and of the symptoms and of the importance of, getting it checked on a regular basis.
It really boils my piss. I get so angry about this, because you've just told me that 10,000 men a year are not being diagnosed or being diagnosed too late. 12,000 people men a year are dying of it, right? And all you hear when you're diagnosed with prostate cancer, I know this from personal experience, is the majority of people say to you, "Oh, well, that's the good one, isn't it?" And they say to you, "Oh, well, that's the one you die with it. You don't die of it." Well, hang on a minute. You do die of it, because every month I'm seeing some poor celebrity has died of prostate cancer and that. And when you've got it, when you're walking around with it in you, every time, that's quite a kick in the crutch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you think like, well, I thought, everyone's sort of making out, well, what's the fuss? What's the fuss about?
Yeah. Well, I suppose to comment on that is that when I had my original diagnosis, Stuart, I had the blood test, and then I had the biopsy, and then I was told, I was rung by the nurse, and she said to me, "Oh, by the way, you need to go for a bone scan." But she didn't tell me why I was going for a bone scan. And I, popped off down to the radiographers, walked in, and I said to the girl, "By the way," I said, why am I having a bone scan?" And she said to me, well, prostate cancer is one of the cancers that metastasizes, it spreads.
Mm.
And if it gets into your bones, she said, they're not treating the cancer anymore. They're just basically, treating you as a human being. Wow. And I thought, this was the first time I'd heard this, Stuart. And I can remember I didn't get those results for 2 weeks.
Mm.
And I was waking up at night, literally thinking, if this is spread to my bones, this is my funeral. And I was planning, who's going to come to my funeral? Who's going to look after the boys, when I'm gone? So if people say, that's the one that you can die with, I think to some degree that could be true, but it's not always the case.
No.
I mean, I was just trying to think of the newsreader that died a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah. Nicholas Whittle.
67 he was. I mean, is that any age to die at?
Well, no age is a good age to die at, but it's not very old, and the thing as well with it is that, as you said, no symptoms at all. He won't mind me saying, my brother-in-law is just going through it at the moment. I love my brother-in-law dearly. He's a lovely man, and he's 71, fit as a flea, doesn't take any tablets. Never been suggested by the doctor that he take a PSA test. Only that my sister saw that the local swimming pool were holding a day where they were doing men's prostate tests, and the chatter and talks about it at the local swimming bath. So she signed him up and he went along. And at 71, my PSA level, having got it at the moment, has gone up a little bit to 6.2. He's came back at 59. So it was all systems go. So now, it's because of this great thing that they had at the local swimming baths. He's had bone scans, he's had MRIs, and he's waiting for the results, and he's had his biopsies done, and he's just waiting for that confirmation of what happens next. But it's scandalous, I think. It's scandalous that a man could get to 71 years old, and not even be suggested by a doctor or a nurse or anyone. And this is why it's vital what you're going to do, because you're going to get guys talking about it and be aware of it, and from a good early age.
Well, this is just it. I'm not. I mean, this is a cool platform, and I can keep it real on this platform, right, Stuart?
Of course, mate.
Another gentleman from the same event said to me, he asked me a question a bit more on the sly. He said to me, aren't you doing the NHS's job for them? This is just a customer that I was getting his haircut. He said, aren't you doing GPs and NHS's jobs for them? Mm. And I said, to a certain extent, and, wouldn't it be nice to live in a world, this utopian world, where services like this weren't needed? Unfortunately, the facts of the matter are that we live in a world where services like this are needed. So people like us are here to provide them. But anywho, just to sort of land on the point being like you just mentioned, was it at a swimming bath, you said?
Just local.
At a local swimming bath.
Yeah. So it might even be Macmillan. It might even be them.
Well, there you go. But the point being, outside of like community engagement and community intervention, your brother-in-law might not even know.
No, he wouldn't have done.
No, he wouldn't have known. So what are we talking about here? What exactly are we talking about? We're talking about a time where ordinary people are finding themselves in positions where, right, we're going to have to take the bull by the horns ourselves. Mm. We're gonna have to take the situation by the scruff of the neck ourselves, because value is needed. Like, people need help, right? People need signposting. People need to be told what to do, where to go, who to phone, what website to look at, what to feel for, what lumps and bumps to look out. People need that information, right? So if it's not on the ready in the places where it's supposed to be, unfortunately, somebody's gonna do it.
Yeah,
and I think the crucial thing. This is why I got diagnosed just over 2 years ago. The first thing I did, and I looked it up actually. It was within a week. I did a podcast with a guy called Elvin Box, who's a great campaigner for prostate cancer awareness. He's very knowledgeable about focal therapy, which is an alternative therapy to having prostatectomy. But also, I was in the dark and I wanted to know. And I thought the best thing to do was get straight on it before I thought too long about it and tell everyone what was going on, and there was no holds barred, There's things that men need to know that you don't get explained. Right, I'm going to, sorry if this offends anyone. However, it's part of what happens. When I had my biopsy, I personally think the guy wasn't on the top of his game that day, or maybe should have retired earlier. But I had a lot of bad after effects. So I can't say I wasn't warned about them, but no one sat me down and properly explained it, So I had immediately that they tell you that you're going to get blood in your urine, that you're going to get blood in semen, that you may get some incontinence, you may get some impotence, right? Mate, I was incontinent, I was impotent for 9 months, right? Yeah. There was then it sort of it started to happen a little bit, and I was thinking, well, I better maybe have to sort myself out. Don't want the wife to see it, you know what I mean? So I got the fella going and sort of done it myself the first time, waiting for this little, when I reached my happy moment, waiting for the little streak of blood. Mate, I had a handful of blood, after my first successful outpouring. I swear to you, it frightened the absolute devil out of me. I was panicking and I was going... my wife, I went, I'm really sorry, but you've got to look at this. You know what I mean? No one had really warned me what might happen, No. And then so it was something that we got loads of messages. Me and Elvin got loads of messages after saying that our podcast had helped them so much more. Because it was all right, we were a bit graphic. However, we had a laugh. You've got to bring fun into it, got to bring humour into it, but we've got guys will listen if there's a bit of humour, guys. And if someone opens up, they'll listen. And they said that they got more help through what we were talking about than they got any advice from the NHS, who probably, being fair to them, haven't got the time. We're not being rushed up their feet. They ain't got time to sit you down, have a cup of tea, go. This it might be like this, might be like that.
Yeah.
And I instantly asked to be transferred to UCLH Hospital because my hospital, Queen's in Romford, don't do focal therapy as part of their treatment. So I said, well, I want to change. That was not easy. They made that, it was very difficult to change hospital. So I changed to Queen's, to UCLH. Once I got onto them, they said, well, we've looked at everything you've got. The scan isn't clear. We need to redo that. We might have to do your biopsies again. I went, oh, my God, you can't do that. And they said, well, what's wrong? And I told them all these things that were wrong with me. And she said, what did you have done? And then they said, oh, no, we don't do it like that. Now, to me, no one should do it like that then. If there's a safer, easier, softer option, we should all get that.
That should be the way, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I still suffer with, thank God, it's all everything's getting a bit better. I still suffer with it all. I've not even had it out yet. That's just from the biopsy, I've had it. Yeah. So my thing is to make sure that if guys are there, ask the questions. Don't in the dark. Don't be frightened. It's not a finger up the bum. It's a blood test. You might have to have one at one time, but you might like it. Don't worry about it. Don't let any of this stuff put you off.
And I think that is such a valuable point, Stuart. And this is kind of in a sense why we were really determined to make sure that kind of age group was from 40 upwards, because I think that a lot of people think, oh, prostate cancer, it's an old men's disease.
Yeah.
And that couldn't be far from the truth. In fact, I've literally just got a message this afternoon from somebody that I've been in contact with, and her husband is in his mid to kind of late 40s, and he's just been diagnosed with prostate cancer. So what we really want to do is we want to make sure that we get in place preventative medicine, so that, if there are problems, if there are issues, so for example, if people are struggling to go toilet at night, if they're going quite a lot, if they've got semen in blood in their semen or blood in their urine, that what they do is they take action and they go and see the doctor, because early detection can prevent those kind of things happening down the road. Because, if somebody has an MRI scan and they say, look, yeah, there's an issue here, it's not at that stage yet, then, that can be carefully watched over a period of time, which may prevent a lot of men going through, like what you and I went through, which was a horrendous biopsy. I mean, mine was awful. I was working, I said this to Anderson, I was at Salon International, I was on the stand that week, and I was literally in agony, and I was taking painkillers, but they were just not having any impact. So if we can help individuals, avoid that, then that's really what we by raising awareness we want to do.
And the thing is, it's like the NHS will spend like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds with a marketing agency to put a TV advert to say, don't leave it too late. Women check your breasts, men check your, and like all of these things, because prevention's better than cure. You go to a GP and it gets talked out of a process. You guys out there have got to be insistent from the age of, you say 45, great. I always say 50, but 45 onwards. You be insistent. It's your right to have a PSA test. We're not talking bone scans. We're talking a blood test.
Yeah.
In the scheme of things, it must cost pennies, and it shouldn't be where a lovely man like my brother-in-law waits till 71 and still gets it off his own back almost. That's totally, totally wrong,
Yeah, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree with you more, Stuart. I think, and you, Mark. I think you're totally right, and that's why what we have formed, we feel it's got legs in it, and it can go somewhere. Because as you're nicely articulated and Mark nicely articulated, it's all about prevention. It's all about early detection. If we're talking about prevention and early detection being the difference, well, then, man, oh man, let's jump on that. Then let's just get all over that. Let's have the conversations. Let's knock down the walls that are making it taboo. Let's talk about black. Let's because if that's the difference between essentially being here and not, or living a long life and not, then come on, it's a no-brainer.
The thing is, the platform you've chosen, the barbershop, we know Tom Chapman's done some wonderful stuff with the Barber Collective. He's shown that it can really make a difference with mental health. He shows that there's a platform there. I was at the British Beauty Council Think Tank 2024, and with industry leaders, and they were talking about the power of the British of the beauty industry, including beauty industry as a whole, incorporates hairdressers, barbers, nails, everything. And it was saying that, early on, I remember exactly it's gone down to hairdressing salons around about 20,000 in the UK. I remember when it was 35,000. Year on year, the last few years, the barber industry has grown and grown and grown. You're talking about there's 19,000 now active businesses in the UK. So they've caught up. There used to be this wide gap of lots and lots of hairdressers and a few barbers. They've caught up now. Yeah. So, you're talking about a growth industry bringing a massive GDP to the economy, so that is the perfect field to attack and to get the word out there. And guys feel great in a barbershop. The barbershop for years has been the place where people have a chat. And all right, talk about UFC, talk about football, you know, but also talk about your prostate, you know, talk about if you're feeling down, all of that stuff. Yeah, get this going, get this dialogue going. And what you're doing, I think, is fantastic. That's why I was desperate to get you both on. So did you? I remember saying, sorry, to go back a bit. You said that Macmillan said this. You was the last ones to get this type of funding.
Yeah,
not funding. They're not doing it anymore. Or
no. So
most recent.
Yeah. So basically, what happens here? We got a set of money to get everything set up and to run that event. And ideally, in a real ideal world, we wanted to try and raise enough funds at that event to kind of push the next one forward. And unfortunately, we didn't. But you know that's just going to be a challenge. We have now got a follow-up meeting with Macmillan, myself, and Anderson, to discuss really kind of, you know, they've seen it now and they've seen the success of it. And really kind of where they want to move with that. And it's just a case of, you know, as we can kind of fund these events, then, you know, we're obviously going to be putting more of them on. So, that's the big picture.
Well, that's got to be, I mean, you know, that's got to come from brands. There's barber product brands that I'm sure, you know, would help. They've got CSR budgets, you know, that they can put towards it. Not all of it. We want some haircuts for owners, but you know, you know, that's the point of it. That's what CSR budget. You know, the point of it is social responsibility. So you know, corporate social responsibility, and that's why there's a sort of an allocation for it. You know, and I think Macmillan probably will and should realise that you're helping them. You know, as you say, as your client said, you're doing the job for them. Well, you're not. You're just helping. You're helping getting people aware that maybe wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah.
And it must carry on. It must go out. And it was a great day. And I know what it's like with these events. We've done stuff. We've been going 10 years now. And, you know, some stuff works great. Some stuff you put loads of work and effort in and you get nothing out of it, you know. And they're not really a bad idea. They just don't work. They're a great idea. They just don't work. But you've got things like, you know, all your banners, your pop-up stuff. You can keep that. So once you get that paid for, you can keep that going.
Yeah,
there's other stuff, you know. People, you know, you need fuel to get to the next place. You know, things need money. This is what it's a big dirty word in this country. If you're in America, they love talking about money. You know, in this country, it's a bit like it's a dirty word. Oh, money, but money's important because without any fuel in the engine, you can't drive anywhere. And it's this sort of thing. You know, these sort of things take some backing and finances. So. I'm sure you get once you get the ball rolling that people will help, I would think.
I feel like I think what Mark said about Macmillan being you know, that being the last of the funding, that was spot on, but I feel like he also said there's an air of confidence, if you like, that we have in that, not confidence that we're going to be continually backed by Macmillan or any other or anyone else for that matter, but confidence in the fact that it's a success and that the project works. That we could see. You could see on the day, you could see from a mile off. It works. It garnishes conversation. It garnishes all the things we want it to, and gets men talking. So that is what we wanted to know. Will it work? Right. It works now. Now we move on from there.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's why I was determined to get down there that day, because I could see it was going to be something great. Also, I didn't want to say, oh, well, send me a picture or whatever and I'll share it. I wanted to go and see for myself. Within a couple of minutes, I thought, this is going to be really good. This is going to be really good because you've got guys coming along, they get in the chair, they're talking, it's causing an atmosphere. You know, you get people looking and inquiring. You know, it's a great thing. You know, like. Yeah, I really, my hats off to you both, and I want it to continue. And we're gonna, you know, wait, sorry, I'm not part of it. You are going to save men's lives, and that's not being over dramatic. You know, the more of this that goes on and goes out there, you will save men's lives, which is, you know, amazing.
Yeah, and I think as well that you know is the. I mean, it's not to be heroes or anything like that, because that's not the kind of the.
I can't see you in tights, Mark.
Well, you want to see me on a Friday night? and I'm not going to send any pictures. But, you know, we've always said, both Anderson and I have said that, you know, if we ever got one guy come back to us and said, look, I went to the doctors and I went and had a test and, you know, things are now in motion, that to us would be success. And I know that we've already done that, because I've already had, you know, people come back to me and said, you know, my husband's gone, you know, because of what you said. She said, one of my friends, she said, I sent my husband straight away. So, you know, even if we get the partners pushing them on, we're still achieving what we wanted to achieve.
Yeah. You won't know how many people you felt.
No.
Because there were the guys who come along that day, but there would be Ethel and Arthur walking along the top going, what's all that then? And they go, something about prostate. Yeah, and it's about time you asked to, you know, and so you won't ever hear about them. But Arthur, he might have gone and had his prostate checked. Do you know what I mean? So it's that's what it's about. That's the power of stuff. People helping people. So where's it going to go then? What's the future? Where are we going to happen?
So the future is definitely more events, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anderson, sorry.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was just going to chime in with exactly that. It's got to be making the barbershop as a pop-up cancer awareness project. It's got to be making that more commonplace, Stuart. It's got to be, right, how many of these can we do a year?
Yeah.
Or what kind of venues can we host this project in? So we can attract and impact, you know, large, you know, high numbers of footfall. It's got to be making this, getting this rolling by itself. Yeah, getting it going by itself. So it's not, as I said earlier, so it's not such an eyebrow raiser. So it's not so, oh gosh, we haven't seen this before. So it almost becomes a part of community life.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost, you know.
I think also what you said as well was a great idea. Is getting the little things on the mirrors, you know, in the barbershop. You know, just get that, you know, like a picture of a prostate. So do you know what this is?
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? Because people are like, I mean, I call it my walnut, but it's this little walnut thing right in the middle of you, and you don't know, you know, it's so important, you know. So yeah, a little QR code or anything else to help.
Can I just show you this, Stuart? Because these are them. I don't know if you can see them very well.
Hold it back a bit.
No, I don't think it's going to work.
It's blurring up.
Yeah.
I'll put links on at the end of this.
Yeah, so
when it goes out, I will put the links.
If people go onto the website, which is barbersagainstprostate.com, and then do /shop, they can actually get a set. And what they get is they get 5 mirror stickers, 1 window decal, and they get 50 leaflets. And we do ask to cover the printing at a £20 contribution, really.
Yeah, as you should.
And there are quite a number of salons and shops that have now got those, which is brilliant. And what's on it is a QR code that brings them on the website to the 30-second risk checker. So basically, a barber could be saying to their client, look, if you're concerned about prostate cancer, scan that QR code, do a 30-second risk checker, and, you know, obviously take it from there. And the taking it from there is we want people to check in with their doctors or, you know, their medical providers. So yeah, that if we can really promote that as well, that would be absolutely brilliant. We did, if I can just kind of throw in quickly, the lady that Anderson originally spoke with at Lakeside, they are part of a management group that have about 7 or 8 other centres, quite big shopping centres. And we have said to her, look, you know, can you talk to those other centres to see if we could run them at these other kind of locations as well? So we're kind of waiting to hear back from her, because, you know, if we could go to Macmillan's and say, look, we've got everything to set it up. We've actually got the location. We now need some money to put in the van to get there.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know, that, you know, they'll come back with a positive. Or if there's anybody watching here today.
If there's any rich philanthropical people, please donate to Haircuts for Homeless now. And I'm only joking. I'll fight you for it.
Yeah.
No, look,
you've got the MBE, Stuart, so we'll always back down anyway.
I have. I've got a massive big head. Look, size of it. Yeah, it's it's brilliant. And the thing is, it's all love, isn't it? It's I can't say enough. Now, before we wrap up, is there anything else you think that you might have missed, or is there anything you want people to realise about what's going on with it and what you want to know from it?
I think we've pretty much touched on everything. I think, not to be too doom and gloom or too clinical/medical, I think the numbers are probably most pertinent, most important. 10,000 people getting it, 12,000 people dying, 1 in every 8 white males, 1 in every 4 black males.
Thank you for that. I meant to say that. Yeah.
And this is why we do what we do, because of those numbers. Because of those numbers. So I think that's, if there's anything I'd like to leave, it'd probably be that. You know, the numbers are far too high. So let's continue to do the work.
Yeah, 100%. And you, Mark?
Yeah, no, I couldn't put it better myself, to be honest. I mean, Anderson is 100% right. And, you know, I suppose
the brains of the pair, I can tell.
Yeah, that's why it spurs us on, to be honest.
Well, thank you so much, guys. I'm really glad to even be able to do whatever I can, and in the future. Keep up the good work. I shall put all the. We'll carry on talking a sec after. I'll tell you what I need from you. But I'll end it now anyway. Everyone, check it out. Go on Instagram. Go on the website. You'll get all the links on this when it comes out. And thank you so much, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you.